What's going on there, YouTube? This is SEL0320.
What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Johnson 030.
Representing JVS.
Yes.
We had the pleasure of getting an advanced screening to Matt Reeves' final movie for the trilogy, Planet of the Apes. It was Rise of the Planet of the Apes, then it was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. This is War from the Planet of the Apes. And I gotta say, this was, I don't want to call it a masterpiece yet. I don't know if it's got that status, but it is an amazing roundup for an amazing trilogy. Well, I guess we can just dive into it, Joe. What did you think about it, man?
I completely agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you, man, because it was a great movie overall. We watched, I overheard some of the commentary for the previous movies, and like kind of like what they wanted to express, how they want to express it, using, you know, apes and using, like, you know, kind of CG elements. And it's like, how do we do that? And they do a really good job as far as that, communicating not only the emotional aspects of, like, a lot of nonverbal communication, and then also yeah, I would say they do a really good job with just expressing emotions on levels that just go far beyond just what we experience as humans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it really challenges, you know, what is being human, kind of.
Nah, and that's a good segue too, because one of the biggest things I wanted to articulate to you guys is that the CG in this is far better than both of these.
Yeah.
Like in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I thought they hit it far, but you can literally see the progression of them becoming more human-like. The way that their stature is, the way that they stand, like their hair, the definition of their hair. And like he was kind of saying, like, they can express things with their emotion that you can sit there and witness tears falling, or like strain, or fear, or happiness. And like, this is not a real face. Like, there were moments I was sitting there looking at these, you know, these apes interacting with horses, and I'm like, is a horse not real? Is it like everything CG, or is it like what? Like it was blurring the line of realism. And I know you come from a, you know, animation and graphical design background, so I know for you it was kind of like, this is eye candy on so many different levels. But I just appreciated what detail that they put into every emotion throughout the board. But let's get into the actors. So Woody Harrelson plays the antagonist in this one, and this man is vindictive. He's sick. But you actually understand how and why he is the way he is. And I think that a lot of times we get really good villains that do terrible things, but you don't really get to see the progression of why. And I think that with Andy Serkis and the way he was able to act through Caesar in this one, and with Woody Harrelson, I think that they collided in ways that I was just like, man, Caesar is a human. Like, from a consumer standpoint, looking at it as a movie, like, I'm like, I never saw Caesar as an ape. And I think that's the thing. Like, I was watching him acting back and forth with Woody Harrelson. I was like, this is actually like they're there. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. What do you think about the actors in this one? Which, I mean, it's kind of weird because they're not real. Like, everybody was acting, but it wasn't real, you know?
Oh, man. I thought the acting was amazing, to say the least. Because they have... Not only was the acting really well, but the script was written really well. The character development, character design was really well, because there's characters here that there's a lot of allegiances that are questioned and are challenged. Like, whose side are you on? And then you have individuals who's like, you know, on a certain side for themselves. And it's like they're self-serving, but it's like it's weird, because those characters that are kind of like blurring these lines of allegiance, it's like they make sense as characters. The villains make sense as villains, and then, you know, Caesar and his crew, they make sense of what we're trying to do and why, and it's a good reason for everything.
Yeah.
So I say, the characters, each character has a solid foundation to stand on.
Yeah.
In their makeup, their psyche, why they do things.
Yeah.
So
And it's funny because like you said with the story, I think that Matt Reeves does a good job directing this because the script is on point. The story it progresses. Everything that happened in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes falls into this. Like at the very end of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, like he was talking. I think Caesar was talking to the guy that the family, and he was like, "There's no stopping this. Now this is going to be war." This movie takes place 2 years after the fact, and like you can just see like everybody. Not only is war written, but they are smarter, but they understand the weight of everything. And even like watching Caesar with his family and the way he's trying to do everything, it's amazing, impeccable timing that each moment that actually happens, that I can sit there and pull a call back. This is how he learned this in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. This is how he learned in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And I think that with this one, I think that this was actually one of the best that I've seen since the Dark Knight Christopher Nolan series as far as trilogy is concerned. Because there's been some really good trilogies I've seen, maybe like Captain America, ended off with Winter Soldier, and then after that he did Civil War. But I think that the Christopher Nolan series, they wrapped everything up with, the Dark Knight Rises. But this might be better, which is weird. Like, I'm not saying that, War of the Planet of the Apes is better than the Dark Knight. I'm saying that this as a whole, as a trilogy, might be just that good. And then they introduced new characters in Bad Ape and this little girl that I'm not going to mention her name. And if you know anything, well, I don't want to spoil anything. I can't say nothing. All I can say is Bad Ape, he actually was really good comic relief. And at the same exact time, he brought a different nuance and understanding of like, how did he come to being? And you got a really good fleshed out character. I'm not sure who actually did the voice acting for that. But even with the little girl, like every moment she kind of was there, it was kind of like she was symbolic of the human nature, the good part of human nature that you kind of see in different movies. Like I did, first one was with James Franco, the second one was with the family. This one is definitely with this little girl because every other human at this point is just trying to kill them. But you get to see that Caesar is still trying to maintain his semblance of humanity and picking out the good things that they actually can bring, but at the same time staying true to who he is. And I think there's a lot of symbolicism as well from a racial standpoint too, but I'm not going to go there.
Definitely.
There's a lot of things that if you remember the old Planet of the Apes movies, you will love about this one. I want to gush about it, but I really can't. Joe, what are your final thoughts on this?
Final thoughts, coming in as a movie, like towards the end of the movie, like you feel like this is legit, like an apocalypse.
Yes.
Like, cause it's like, yo, like this is like people on their last leg, like for real.
Yeah.
Like, overall, it was good. It was a good film.
Yeah, and like,
Great film.
And like people were suffering, people were thriving, it was just a lot of weight that like at the end of it, like Alicia said to me, like this was amazing. I feel depressed. At the same exact time, I feel invigorated, and at the same exact time, this was great movie. So that's the same thoughts I feel. I actually get this a 10 out of 10. I didn't think I would. I'm not gonna say this was. Well, I don't know. Maybe this is the best. I don't know, bro.
The best way.
Out of all of these, because Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, like I didn't think they could top that. But the way that they ended this, like, I don't know, man. It's gonna always be a special place in my heart. I want to go see it again. I give it a 10 out of 10. What are your final thoughts as far as the rating?
Sure, I give it a 9. I give it a solid 9.
What does it rank up for you out of all of them?
I think it's the best of the 3.
You see what I'm saying? Like I'm like Dawn was that joint, but
I'm trying to figure out. Well, I feel like it's going to come down to the villains, like Koba or the Colonel.
But at the same time, like the things that happen in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes still bleed over. So it's like it's not like, well, I don't want to spoil it.
I'm gonna have to go with this. I'm gonna have to go with War of the Planet of the Apes, because I mean I feel like that one's better. This one's a little bit better because on all angles and all fronts, it's like it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and even like there are things that we don't know, secrets that you find out in this movie that even pushes the story even further to what us as the classic fans love. But either way, hopefully you enjoyed our review. Definitely go on July the 14th, I believe. Check out War from the Planet of the Apes. It was definitely a great film. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Y'all have a blessed one. Peace.